12 News breaking news now.
And we are starting with breaking news out of Chandler. A woman is dead after a house fire near Dobson and Warner. These are live pictures from the scene. Both Chandler police and arson investigators are on the scene right now. We're still working to gather details about how the fire started. 2 pets also died in this fire. As soon as we get more information, we'll bring it to you both on air and online at 12news.com. As Memorial Day weekend begins, Arizona is bracing for a dangerous combination. High fire danger with thousands of people looking to spend the weekend outdoors. Thanks for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Mark Curtis.
And I'm Kadiba Devine. Dry conditions and hot temperatures are making for elevated fire danger up in the high country. Meteorologist Lindsay Riley is joining us now. And Lindsay, we could see some lightning this weekend, making conditions even worse.
You're absolutely right. Yes, on Monday, that's when we will have some showers and thunderstorms up in the high country. And because we've seen such low dew points, it's possible some of that rain doesn't make it all the way to the ground, but we could still see some lightning. So that's called dry lightning, and that can increase our fire risk, especially because it's been such a dry winter and spring. The radar and satellite clear across the state right now. In terms of our rain forecast, Saturday and Sunday across the state are completely dry, but this is where we could have some showers around on Monday from the Grand Canyon through Flagstaff, the Rim, as well as the White Mountains. It is not going to be a washout, but we could have a little bit of shower activity on the radar during the morning, but the chances will go up for the afternoon hours. In terms of the fire danger, these are all of our national forests across the state, and you can see pretty much very high fire risk throughout the course of the weekend. Here's our Memorial Day. It's going to be 98 degrees here in the valley, dry and sunny. But once you start going north and east, temperatures with the clouds and the few showers around will be knocked down a little bit. 60s and 70s from the Rim Country and Flagstaff up through the White Mountains, and we'll have some afternoon thunderstorms on Monday. All
right, Lindsay, thank you. And if a wildfire does break out this weekend, crews will almost certainly rely on air resources to stop the flames. But just as Arizona enters peak wildfire season, the cost to fight fire from the air is surging. Rising jet fuel prices driven by the war in Iran are pushing the cost of operating firefighting aircraft across the West.
12 News journalist Maria Stobbs is here with us. And Maria, how is this impacting the wildfire response for Arizona?
Well, Mark Rebe, it might sound daunting, but fuel costs aren't expected to slow down those operations. Instead, the concern is how much of these costs will fall onto taxpayers and whether the ongoing war could tighten global supply even further. When wildfires break out in Arizona, aircraft are often the first called in.
They have to be in the air within 15 minutes.
For more than 3 decades, Burl Shears has run Western Pilot Service, an aerial firefighting operation based in Buckeye, with aircraft ready to respond across Arizona and across the country.
We drop the red fire retardant that you see all the time on these fires.
These single-engine air tankers can fly lower and get closer to flames, reaching places ground crews can't.
This airplane will burn between 85 and 100 gallons an hour.
But all that flight time comes at a cost. According to Global Air, the national average for Jet A fuel is close to $8 a gallon. That's up from $6.34 in February, before the war in Iran began, adding thousands of dollars a day to the cost of fire suppression flights.
They go up and down, they do.
Thanks to federal fire aviation contracts, operators like Shears aren't absorbing those cost increases.
And if they have risen significantly, they will give us a flight rate adjustment to pay for the additional cost of fuel.
Instead, taxpayers would take on the costs. The U.S. Forest Service tells 12 News it spent more than $52 million on aviation fuel last year. This year, the agency has budgeted $45 million.
I think obviously if these prices stay up, it won't be enough if the fire season is as severe as it was last year.
What concerns Shears most is the supply. As of mid-May, the California Energy Commission reports jet fuel stocks at their lowest level in more than 4 years.
The worry is the supply will be interrupted refueling these smaller airports that we work on, so they may not have fuel.
Scheer says his company is ready if that happens.
Everything that we have capacity for storage is all full. So we have plenty for the next 6 weeks or so.
And he's confident if supplies get tight, firefighting aircraft will be prioritized.
I don't think the public would be put at risk. I'm sure it's being looked at a very high level of the federal government.
And the Arizona Department of Forestry tells 12 News fuel prices will not impact its ability to respond to these wildfires. An aircraft will continue to be used when necessary to protect communities and infrastructure. Live in studio, Maria Stobbs, 12 News.
Okay, Maria, thanks. The driver that caused a crash involving a school bus in Marana last year has pled guilty to driving under the influence. Investigators say Nicholas Rodriguez hit the bus carrying students from the Kingman Unified School District. One student was injured so badly that they had to have their left hand amputated. Rodriguez told police he had smoked pot 2 days before the crash. Rodriguez will be sentenced June 15th.
Tempe voters shook up their city council in this week's runoff election with two progressive candidates ousted incumbents. One of those candidates was endorsed by Senator Bernie Sanders and says that New York mayor also is a role model. 12 News journalist Bram Resnick shows us why the Valley's bluest city is getting even bluer.
Is she the reason you decide to... Brooke St. George defeated her former boss to win a seat on the Tempe City Council.
I felt that Tempe deserved, I'm just going to say, better leadership.
St. George told an interviewer she wanted to shake things up at City Hall.
Someone who would truly listen to the people and who was in it to serve the public.
Incumbent Jennifer Adams wanted to stay the course. Adams finished dead last in the four-person runoff election.
Having both Bobby and I in there is going to make it easier for us to find those allies on the issues that matter most to the voters.
St. George will join another newcomer on the six-member council, Assistant Attorney General Bobby Nichols. Nichols is a Democratic socialist whose campaign got the blessing of his hero, Senator Bernie Sanders.
I began my political campaigning career making calls for Bernie Sanders, and I'm actually getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
The country's most famous Democratic socialist, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, is another hero.
Zohran represents a positive energy, a can-do attitude, and a focus on affordability politics that I've really tried to replicate in this campaign.
St. George and Nichols are united on finding a new way for the city to serve the unhoused population.
We are going to need to make sure that we are providing necessary public services, specifically housing, through that Housing First policy that has been used to effectively eliminate unsheltered homelessness in cities around the world.
The City Council recently approved new restrictions on helping homeless people in parks.
We keep talking about how everyone needs to come to the table to help solve the unhoused issue, and yet there's no table to come to. And so we look forward to creating that table.
In Phoenix, Bram Resnick, 12 News.
Bram, thanks. Happening tonight as thousands of Arizonans hit the road for the Memorial Day weekend. Law enforcement agencies across the state are ramping up their DUI enforcement. More than 50 agencies are teaming up for specialized patrols aimed at stopping impaired drivers and reducing deadly crashes. Mesa police were already out in force tonight looking for impaired drivers.
Plan ahead, be smart. There's no reason why we should have collisions involving impaired drivers. There's no reason why we should have deaths involving impaired drivers. Rideshare is available for everybody. It's just a click on a phone versus taking somebody's life for no reason at all. So there's no excuses. Plan ahead and just be smart about it.
Yeah, bottom line, if you plan on drinking this weekend, make sure you have either a designated driver or call a rideshare.
News is dedicated to sharing the stories of those who give back to their communities. And tonight, a local educator and golf coach is hanging up her clubs after 52 years.
Xavier College Prep's sister Lynn Windsor is moving on to some new ventures this summer. 12 News journalist Tiani Jadalang is with us in studio. She spoke with Sister Lynn and those who know her best. Tiani?
Mark Caribe, Sister Lynn's journey really has come full circle. She was once a student at XCP herself, and that's exactly where she's ending her career, but it's the legacy that she's leaving behind that so many will remember.
Sister Lynn Windsor's story at Xavier College Preparatory in Central Phoenix dates back over 65 years. She graduated back in 1961, but it was shortly after when she found herself with an opportunity to come back to her alma mater.
Well, I was, at the time, in 1972, I was at a girls' school in St. Louis, and they closed because of financial problems and some other issues. So I put my name out there to the sisters, and I was looking for a place to work.
It was during that time that the principal at XCP offered Sister Lynn a job.
Because I went to school here. I'd love to come back. Yes, I was a graduate in 1961. So I said, yes, I'm going to come back. Plus my mom was here, and she was elderly, and I thought I can help take care of her. So that's how I ended up here.
Throughout her 52 years at Xavier College Prep, she taught basketball, softball, and golf, racking up tens of state championships on top of a number of other accomplishments. But it's the relationships and memories she helped create that will be missed most.
She gives 200%. So she's here for everybody, not just like you said, not just the students, not just the faculty, the coaches. I mean, she does so much for everybody, and she's like a community figure.
Both in and outside of school activities.
Personally, a lot of memories as well. She was my witness at my wedding. She was there when my daughter was born. So it's a lot of personal stuff too. So
the outgoing athletic director was inducted into the Arizona Golf Hall of Fame 26 years ago. Until this day, student athletes we spoke to say she embodies exactly what's taught at the Catholic school.
There's like so much empowerment around the school, and that's exactly what we have, like faith, like women faith pursuing excellence. Like that's exactly what she empowers and embodies.
Sister Lynn says her job isn't done just yet. She's set to finish up at the end of June, with plans of heading to Dubuque, Iowa, where her mother house is. But it's this that she'll miss most.
I've learned from so many people. I've been loved and cared for by many. And I hope that what I've done here will continue on and grow greater and better and better. And I'm sure it will. Xavier's always keep going. I always say, God bless and go Gators.
Sister Lynn turns 83 this weekend, a chapter she says she's excited to take on. Live in studio, I'm Tiani Jadaling, 12 News.
She was a heck of a golf coach, Tiani. Thanks.